I was just trying to think of something else neat to add to the game. And so what I did is I found another image file and I put it in my backgrounds. I made a new folder called backgrounds and added it in there. And I've got this mountains PNG file. And I'm going to use this as a scrolling background image in my game. Now, a couple things about this image. I have cropped this and resized this image so it matches the dimensions of my game window. It's the same height as my game window. It doesn't matter whether or not it's the same width as the game window. The code I show you in here is still going to work. But the other things to notice about this image, all right, for it to scroll, and I guess I got to get out of the way here so you can see this, is it tiles horizontally. So if you'll notice right here is the exact, like these pixels right here match up exactly with these pixels right here. And that's an important thing because we're eventually going to have two of these images side by side and we don't want to see the same. All right. So anyway, I found my image, put it in the backgrounds folder, resize it. All right. So let's think about the strategy for this and then we'll get into the code. So the first thing I'm going to do, right, here's my world and I've got my background image and my characters in the world. And, when my image scrolls, right, when my player moves and the image scrolls, I don't want to have this, blue space right there. So the strategy is going to be, I'm just going to have two background images. And I'm going to blit them right next to each other. So you can see the seam here, but when we do it in the code, we'll make sure there's no gap. And we're going to scroll the two images together. And then every time the leftmost image gets to the edge of the screen, we're just going to take the image and instantly set the position back to here. And it's going to scroll to here and then immediately jump back to here. And so it's going to look like seamless scrolling. All right, so let's jump into the code now. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and load my background image. So I'll just call it background image. Let's see, it's in images, it's in backgrounds. And my file is called mountains. My mountains picture does not have any transparency to it. So if your image has no transparency in it, then we should be using convert rather than convert alpha. I actually don't know if that'll make a difference. Convert alpha might still work just fine. All right, so we got the image loaded. And let's get the background image on the screen. So I'm going to go to my drawing code here. And right after I do the sky blue, and eventually I'll just delete that line or comment it out. But I'm going to go screen.blit, background image, comma, 0, comma, 0. And so let's run it and just see if it's on the screen. Okay, there. Got my background image there, and I run, and it looks kind of weird because the background image is not scrolling with the rest of the game. So it just doesn't seem natural. So now let's see if we can make it scroll. All right, don't copy the code just yet because I'm just sort of playing around with things so you can see the effect. So the first thing I want to do is like, oh, I got an offset X. Let's just see what happens if I put the offset X in there. And we'll run. And whoops, it goes the wrong way. Okay, so that's probably an easy fix. And I'll notice here that my offset has always been positive, and here I am subtracting it. It's like, oh, let's try a -1 times the offset X and see if that works better. Huh. Seems pretty good. Little glitchy. One of the things is, blitting big images can cause some performance issues in Pygame. Also, keep in mind I'm trying to record a video at the exact same time I'm drawing this, so I think the screencast is having a little bit of an impact as well. So all right, so the image scrolled right, but we just went past the end of it. So let's blit a second one on the end of the screen. Only this time we'll do the offset. We'll subtract the offset, but we're just going to add the image width to it. So it's bg. We'll just add in bg image.get width and parentheses after that. It's a function that all images have. And let's see. And so you can see the seam of the image is actually right here. And so we run through and try not to die. All right. And okay, so that worked reasonably well. It got me to the end of the second image. All right, so now the part that we have to do, right? So now we've got the, now we've made it scroll to here, but it went like that. And so what we've got to do is get it to, right when it gets to here, we have to get it to snap back, right? So, so I want to move some of this math here because I'm starting to realize that, I know I'm not so crazy about doing the math inside my drawing code because I think this is getting a little bit confusing. So I'm going to go up here and add another variable. This will be my background offset x equals, and I'm going to copy that out. And so I'm going to paste this here. And right, I'll still allow that much math to happen. That doesn't bother me too much. Right. And so pay attention to order of operations here, but what I'm going to do is take the offset x and I'm going to modulus it by the width of the image. So we'll do background image get width. Okay, make sure you get your parentheses right here. So my image width happens to be like 1024. So like if the offset x happens to get to 1024, then 1024 mod 1024 is 0. It has a remainder of 0, so it'll set the offset to 0. If the offset x happens to be like 1030 or something like that, 1030 mod 24 is 6, and it'll change the offset, the background offset, to 6. So modulus is going to be useful in a lot of situations where there's some kind of wraparound effect happening. All right, so let's see how this works. Right around. Okay, real glitchy again. This is mostly an effect of me trying to do a screen cap at the same time. And I get to the edge, and this is where the seam was before. And because the image's positions got adjusted, all right, everything looks like it is working pretty well. Run through it one more time just to. All right, so looks good, except for, and actually I'll show you right now, the one thing that can be fixed is the background image is scrolling at the exact same speed as the foreground. And so, those mountains are far away and it doesn't look like they're far away. So let's add some parallax into this. And I'm going to go inside the parentheses here. Here you can just pick any number you want. And this is one of those situations where I'm just guessing a number and I'm going to tinker with it till it looks right. So what I'm going to do is take that offset x and make it a little bit less than the offset for everything in the foreground. And this should cause the background to scroll slightly slower. And so what you're going to see here, and I would say watch, especially like around the blocks here, and watch how the mountains aren't scrolling quite as fast. And we have, right, now we have an illusion of some depth in the game. If you wanted to make things appear further away, you can just mess with that parallax number, and then things, the background stuff will scroll even slower than the foreground stuff. So anyway, hope that makes sense. I think that's a fun little thing to play with. I would try it out if you have a background image in mind. But also I would, go into this with an understanding that, if your screen is really big and you have lots of stuff going on in the game, there's a possibility you could see some performance issues in your game that are, maybe get kind of annoying. So consider this totally an optional feature. Oh, one more thing I can do is there's no more need for me to fill the sky blue every frame because I'm drawing the background image right over the game. So, all right, that's it for this video, and let me know if you have any questions.